This is Super Saiyan 4 Explained. This is everything that we know about Super Saiyan 4. We're going to be talking about Dragon Ball GT Super Saiyan 4 and also Dragon Ball Daima new Super Saiyan 4. And we're going to talk about the similarities, the differences, the behind the scenes, and stuff in universe about these forms. So, first thing we're going to talk about is that when it comes to Super Saiyan 4, we're going to talk about Diamonds on first and kind of cover some of this because there's been a lot of speculations online and thoughts and opinions about this form being a magic based form and that only through magic that they can access this form, which at the current moment that may look like the case due to Neva offering some form of like magic abilities to Goku to have him transform. And everybody has given their explanation, but there has been no definitive explanation to this. So everything here would just be headcanon and opinions when it comes to this transformation. So before we go into that, we're going to talk about the original Super Saiyan 4 and Dragon Ball GT. Now, in the original Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT, Goku pretty much is fighting baby Vegeta and he gets hit with a huge blast which ends up sending him to a alternate dimension. It was like a pocket dimension. And at this point, he meets a couple of people in there. He goes through that and they end up becoming friends. Now they go back to the world of the Kais and they meet the old Supreme Kai. And at this point, this is all clues and we're going to talk about all these lores because we're going to use some of the stuff of Dragon Ball GT and it's going to apply to some of the stuff of Dragon Ball Daima when it comes back to this form. And the reason I say this is because even though it's a separate series, the behind the scenes of everything still kind of plays out to the same similar because Dragon Ball Daima is stated to be inspired by Dragon Ball GT. So first we're going to look at GT Super Saiyan 4. So at this point, the old Supreme Kai, he goes on to pretty much say, to help Goku try to achieve a new power to be able to defeat baby Vegeta. And by doing this, he have the beings that he ended up meeting in that pocket dimension and turn into like a huge pliers for them to try to pull, his tail out at this point. And it's like still a little small little, like I'll say it looked almost like this skin, like almost like a little bone poking out of Goku's back, and this is hurting Goku. And it's realized they're pulling, but it's not working. So Goku decides to hold on to something super tight and decides to pull himself to like fly away to pull it out. And when he does this, his tail ends up being pulled out all the way, and now he gets his tail back. And now the thing is, the old Supreme Kai is very knowledgeable. He has a lot of wisdom, and that's a character which I see him similar to Neva when it comes to Dragon Ball Daima. Neva's kind of playing his role a little bit, but a little bit more better because Neva's getting a little bit more involved and showcasing a lot more abilities. But back then, the old Supreme Kai was this guy who had a lot of special techniques and certain magic that he can use, like unlocking Gohan's, ultimate form for him and other things. So by him also being the want to kind of like bring Goku to that Super Saiyan 4, this is another type of form of that happening in Dragon Ball Daima with Neva, having his magic. But in this case, it's done different. In GT back in the days, while Goku getting his tail back, by him having higher levels of power that he has at that point and reaching Super Saiyan levels, when he decides to become in grade 8, he turns into a golden grade 8, which is like, I would say, a Super Saiyan, grade 8. At this point, Goku starts to master and control his grade 8 form. But by doing this, he ends up mutating into a level far beyond, where he's now condensing that power to a more control and pretty much harnessing that power of the Super Saiyan 4. Now, the thing about this is that the Super Saiyan 4, there's many different things about it. It's not just one thing, because even when people are saying that this, new Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Daima is magic based, but you got to just remember what happens to Goku back in Dragon Ball GT. Goku makes new clothes. For one, he's a kid, so the Super Saiyan 4 brings him back to an adult, because the thing about what was stated about Super Saiyan 4 is pulling all of Goku's hidden potential and bringing it to the forefront. So it's almost like an ultimate form, but it's pulling all of that Saiyan super. It's like pretty much bringing the Saiyan ultimate form to the forefront. So this is why Goku is reverted back to an adult when he turns Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball GT, rather than staying as a child. He's pretty much going to his prime peak and pulling all of his full potential inside to the forefront. But then again, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have any power left to pull from, because Goku does get stronger with this transformation throughout the series and gets several power-ups. So Goku do become more powerful in this form, which can also likely be there could be more mutations to transform that, because same thing with Ultimate Gohan. Gohan's able to evolve that and become Beast, and this is him digging even more deeper. So when they say he's bringing like their ultimate potential, the old Kai can only bring out but so much. But with Super Saiyan 4, this is what was described of this, and it definitely was magic, because when Goku changed back to normal, he still retains his clothes and outfit, but when he transformed, you can kind of see like the little bands on where his shoes is different. It goes from the solid blue when he's in Super Saiyan 4 to it being like white little like, you know, bands tied around his legs. So Goku definitely, and of course his clothes have to get bigger as well, because as a kid body and having the pants and everything to fit. So Goku, there's definitely always been some magic behind Goku transforming into Super Saiyan 4 with his clothes changing along with his transformation when he reverts back to normal and when he transformed. So in Dragon Ball Daima, this is no different. Goku still having that same magic type of thing that's going on with Super Saiyan 4, with his clothes changing and still retaining it even when he changes back to normal. So at the end of the day, there is some form of magic going on with both of these transformations. It's not just Goku tapping into primal, you know, his primal self of a Saiyan and tapping into that Uzaru state to pretty much achieve that power. There's still some form of magical thing that's happening along with this transformation for Goku to still be able to transform his clothes back in Dragon Ball GT. That's something that definitely still happens. Now, the other thing to this is that when we look at Dragon Ball Daima and what Neva does to Goku, Neva so far already did this before earlier to one of the Tamagamis, where we thought it was only because the Tamagamis was his creation and that he had a way to boost them up with power. But no, he showed that different by being able to do the same to Goku. Now, some people may think that this means that Goku can only reach this level of transformation through, you know, that magic. I don't think that's the case. And we're going to get an explanation by the time this is over for why Goku never tries to tap back into that new form. Or maybe he has and still doesn't know how to tap back into it. Because at the end of the day, we could kind of see clues when Goku becomes Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Daima. He reverts back to, you know, almost like his wild instincts. Like, you know, it's almost a little bit different from Ultra Instinct, where it's a little bit more wild as Goku, you know, he's using his tail, running on all fours and almost beast-like a little bit. Now, and this is Goku accessing that primal power. But one thing is that the old Kai in Dragon Ball GT we also got to look back at clues of Dragon Ball GT, because this is all inspired. So it's not like they're just scraping everything off. They're still taking bits and pieces of certain things in, because like what Akira Yoko said in his interview is also a major clue, where he said they're not trying to create anything new. They're really just uncovering like layers of things that's already been there. So this is stuff that already been there in Dragon Ball GT, and pretty much I think what Neva did to Goku was pretty much, if Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball GT was stating that it's bringing you to your peak level of power, because that's pretty much what it was doing. I think Neva was able to tap into that, and that raw Saiyan power that's in there is Super Saiyan 4 is just controlling, like the Uzaru always has been that inner power inside the Saiyans. At the end of the day, that's to show like that's like their true level of power. And Raditz kind of expounded upon this about saying the tail was their true power and stuff. And because of that, Uzaru by Super Saiyan 4 is showing that they finally have that full mastery of that internal Uzaru power that runs through them, and being able to control it and evolve and look more human-like to show that the man humanoid side of it is in control. It's not just a wild beast anymore. Now you're controlling, you're pretty much taming the beast that's within. That's pretty much what the Super Saiyan 4 transformation kind of represent, that raw power being tamed and controlled. And by that, when you see Super Saiyan 4, he doesn't have any type of drawbacks. There's no stamina issues. He's full, perfectly in control, even to the point where he's knocked out and still remains in his transformation state. He's not reverted back like if somebody is in Super Saiyan 1, 2, or 3 and they get knocked out and they revert back to their base form. Goku stays in the Super Saiyan 4 transformation when he's knocked out as a Super Saiyan 4, to show that this mutation is a little bit different than anything. But this still is clues to Dragon Ball Daima as well, because if Neva is tapping into Goku's innermost potential, it's pretty much doing like a potential unlock that the old Kai did, but it's a little bit different, because if he's going to go for the full unlock abilities of, Goku, it's not going to be him more of a human side, whereas like Gohan is half human, so his ultimate potential being unlocked was that at the time. But when Gohan tapped in, and I think when Gohan starts to mix that Saiyan side with his ultimate potential that's unlocked on his human side, it reverts into something different, where you're mixing that human and Saiyan blood and you're getting beast, because now that primal side of the Saiyan is coming out, which is leading to beast, as you're getting the ultimate form of the Saiyans, which is kind of like, in a sense, we could kind of see it could be a connection to a similar thing to Super Saiyan 4, but it's a little bit different if you're following me through this and kind of see why I say that. Now, Neva's kind of doing the same thing, unlocking Goku's potential when he's doing this, and it's transforming Goku's DNA, because that's what a Saiyan will go through as, a mutation starts to happen and Goku starts to pretty much transform, where Neva is probably speeding up Goku's ultimate potential with him getting his tail back, but now evolving further beyond just a grade 8, to show if he's going to reach his ultimate potential at this point, that'll be the only way for him to kind of fight, Goma. But the thing is, it's always been kind of that, like, even for when we look at Super Saiyan 3, who starts to look more primal at the time of his transformation, losing the eyebrows to look more beast-like. That was the original sense behind Super Saiyan 3, to make it look more, scary, dangerous, and strong and powerful, all that at the same time. And Super Saiyan 4 is that, pretty much going deep into that primal power, the raw power of a Saiyan, and bringing it out to its fullest potential. And that's pretty much what Super Saiyan 4 originally was supposed to represent in Dragon Ball GT. So the same case can still be that for Neva being able to bring out someone's full potential, like he did to the Tamagami. That would be the Saiyan's full potential as a Saiyan, beyond Super Saiyan, but turning it that raw power, which has always just been about the Saiyan's tail and that inner power. With the Saiyans evolving in Dragon Ball Super and these other things, as the years went on in Dragon Ball Z, where Goku and them lost their tails, Goku claimed to got rid of the tail, but later on you see Vegeta's tail hasn't grown back either, which he starts to evolve, which of course we know that was a decision made on the outside, but in universe, the Super Saiyan power is probably still connected to that Saiyan power, in a sense where, since they got the Saiyan transformation, it kind of evolved them to the point where they don't have to rely on the Saiyan tail as the new power. Everything will go through that Super Saiyan realm of the new power, which is why we get all these different type of mutations when you're looking at Super Saiyan transformations, like people like Kale or Future Trunks getting his Berserk, Super Saiyan form, or Rage form, whatever they want to call it. And you're getting all these different types of mutations. So even with Broly having the legendary Super Saiyan form, I think the Saiyans access different forms of, all these are different mutations, and they can continue to mutate in ways that, to us, we're thinking is just only these certain paths of power with 1, 2, and 3, and the in-betweens like grade 2 and grade 3. But as we start seeing Super, we start getting all these other types of mutations. There's definitely other paths where They can probably be a mutation to Super Saiyan 3 where there isn't no drawback, and maybe that's not even the proper form per se because of how much energy output is coming out. So when we got Dragon Ball GT, it was the perfect transformation because it brought out Goku's ultimate potential to the forefront without any type of stamina or any type of drawbacks, and it was just raw power, and it brought out Goku primal side even more. Now we got Broly in his Ikari form, which is Ikari is pretty much tapping into Uzaru power while he's pretty much in his base form and being able to utilize a grade 8 transformation power while he's in base, and it's almost a form of level of control. But maybe with Daima, this may be a clue for Broly also in the future for him to find a different type of path of power on top of his regular, Super Saiyan transformation, where now they're calling it full power, but we're just gonna call it legendary Super Saiyan transformation like the original movies had, which is a little bit different because in the movies the legendary Super Saiyan was like a grade 3, but it didn't sacrifice the speed that grade 3 had, and definitely had the power almost on par as a Super Saiyan 2. So the thing to this is that as we look back, this is all the information that was really kind of provided within Dragon Ball GT and Dragon Ball Daima. They may provide more information in the next coming episodes, so we will come back and revise everything once Dragon Ball Daima is complete. But so far, this is the stuff that we compiled so far as we know, according to these different transformations. So there's still a possibility that Goku may be able to access this later on in the future of Dragon Ball Super, or if they decide to make a Dragon Ball Daima Season 2 and explain away this new form and why it hasn't came back or was mentioned in Dragon Ball Super. Because at the same time, if Goku is unable to do it, he's probably not going to think about it at that point unless he have someone there to kind of show him how to access it. And due to Neva probably not being there, and Neva's the one that did it to him, that's probably why Goku didn't really focus on trying to get Super Saiyan 4 if that's the case. Because unlike with Dragon Ball Super and UI, Goku has masters that's working with that as far as the angels and Beerus and these characters like that. So Goku's going to always continue to work on trying to achieve it because he has masters who actually did the form and is going to actually try to tap into that. But who knows if Goku hasn't been trying to master and use it. But if he haven't got it, he's not going to try to use something against Beerus or anybody, because at the current time he doesn't have anything else. And to that point, he had to later on, when he got this God transformation, he was working to mix his Kaioken with his Super Saiyan Blue, which he ended up doing. So at the current moment, this is everything that we know. And once we get more information and Daima completes, then we'll have a little bit more information, hopefully, and to see the real reason why this form hasn't returned as of yet. Because I do think this form will come back. Mark my words, this form will definitely come back sometime in the near future, some way or somehow. And also, the thing about the new Super Saiyan 4, I do want to mention this too as well. The Super Saiyan God connection, because of the eyes and everything like that, and the color of the fur and everything looks slightly different. There can be a connection there, because that type of energy that Neva is using can also be something similar to how the God Key was and Goku mutated in that form, which can be something similar to that nature, how Goku had to use the ritual to achieve God Key, which that was kind of like a rewrite, which I got a video on that coming on when it comes to explaining all of that. But that can be something similar to Super Saiyan God as well, whereas in Vegeta was able to master and get Super Saiyan God in Blue without having to do the Saiyan ritual. So it could be possibly the same thing for this new Super Saiyan 4 as well, where Neva is using the Demon Rail demonic energy to enhance Goku, and he mutates into a form almost like a demonic, demon Super Saiyan form, that caused that mutation. So it's all possible at the end of the day, and maybe Goku just doesn't know how to do it on his own. But Vegeta, being someone who's like a fighting genius, if he probably stayed there long enough, and he probably would have probably trained to probably unlock that form, but due to, they getting Super Saiyan God shortly after and having, like, actual way to achieve it and masters, they probably went down that path and probably was not worried about trying to do Super Saiyan 4 at that point. But that doesn't mean that it'll be short-lived, and to the point that it doesn't come back. It's a big possibility that this form may still come back. But this is everything that we know so far, and we're hoping to see if there is a hidden, meaning and connection to Super Saiyan 4 and Dragon Ball Daima to the Super Saiyan God transformation, because it definitely has some similarities, which both of them are being a play on demonic and demons and gods and angels. So I wouldn't be surprised with all this. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out.